Have you ever thought about what a narcissist thinks when you talk to them? It's as if someone is translating what you say, like a translator is stepping in to figure out what you mean. Imagine a narcissism translation like Google Translate, where you type in what you want to say, and it tells you how the narcissist will understand it. Communication with a narcissist often feels like it's missing pieces. Their answers rarely match what you've said, which gives the impression that they're not listening or that they have a plan that has nothing to do with reality. This difference is caused by different kinds of ego and many different situations. Understanding how a narcissist's mind works can help make sense of this confusing situation. In the first case, the ego just doesn't want to listen. Why? They don't care though. Narcissists only pay attention to things that help them get what they want or need. People who don't have narcissism usually pay attention and take part in talks. People with narcissism, on the other hand, tune out when the conversation doesn't validate them or fit their interests. You walk up to a narcissist and ask, "Do you remember your coworker, Mary? Her husband is sick, and she lost her child in a terrible accident last year. My heart hurts for her, and I want to help her in some way." The narcissist looks at you like you're crazy and says, "Huh. How did you answer? What?" This shows how bored they are when the conversation is about something other than themselves. You might wonder what's going on in their minds. In fact, whatever they hear doesn't matter to them at all. Their ways of understanding other people were almost broken. They don't care about what you say as much as they care about a dog barking down the street. They don't know Mary personally and don't care about what's going on with her. It might make you feel bad, but for them, it's just background noise. This is a characteristic of all types of selfishness. Let's look at situation 2, which is when a narcissist thinks your words are a threat. Even though they often act like they have nothing to worry about, they are actually very scared. Most of the time, this fear comes from deep-seated feelings of insecurity and shame. Anything that makes them feel competitive, envious, disappointed, or less than grabs their attention right away. But they have a very wrong idea of what these things mean. Strangely, situations that most people wouldn't see as scary, but that narcissists see as very dangerous can set them off. Others might not think much of your work promotion, your sister's new house with her boyfriend, or not being asked to a certain event. But for the narcissist, these things are very upsetting. Even though these things don't cause real harm, they do cause psychological harm. People with narcissism are driven by a constant need to fight, even in small things. They always try to come out on top, whether it's getting the best table at a restaurant with the best view, haggling for the best price on tomatoes at the farmer's market, or planning the best summer trip. So, even small successes that have nothing to do with their own work can make them angry, dismissive, or resentful. Their actions come from an insatiable need for attention, power, and control, and they depend on being the center of attention and being seen as important. Through their skewed view, anything that gets in the way of these goals is seen as a danger. So, what does it look like when narcissists see events that seem harmless as threats? Let's look at a number of situations that show this strange pattern. Imagine telling a narcissist that you just got a new job as a regional head and that you are very happy about it. The promotion comes with more responsibilities, a pay raise, and the chance to travel for work. You thank the new boss for recognizing your hard work and say how much you appreciate it. For a self-important narcissist, this news seems like a danger at first. They may say something like, "Good for you," which seems like a compliment, but it's really just a cover for a quick jab. A comment like, "Don't get too cocky with your sudden power. I hope you don't forget about your family now," is a way of asking if you can handle your success. Their answer shows how they see your success in relation to how important they think they are. A vulnerable narcissist, on the other hand, might react with doubt, which would belittle your achievements. They could say something like, "Well, you're just a regional boss at a small company." They give workers that title just to keep them from leaving. I, on the other hand, value real intelligence and innovation more than these superficial improvements. I work harder, but my hard work isn't always noticed. On the other hand, a malignant narcissist's response could be much more aggressive, demanding, and accusing. They might ask, "What's the point of all that traveling? Make sure it's worth it, or we'll have a problem. Did you use your good looks to get that job? You don't have me fooled." All of these situations have one thing in common. Your good news, which you think would make a loving person happy, is seen through their self-centered eyes. Grandiose narcissists may offer lukewarm congratulations at first, but they may quickly say something negative because they feel frightened by your success, which threatens their control and power. Vulnerable narcissists play down your accomplishments so they can feel better about themselves. Malignant narcissists respond aggressively and look for reasons why your successes might make them feel less powerful. A person with narcissism deals with these perceived dangers in different ways. For example, they might say, "You have to put me first," or "Anyone could do what you did," or try to take control by saying, "Don't think you can do whatever you want." Any change in the surroundings that shows progress by someone else is seen as a threat. Grandiose narcissists are very good at pretending to be happy for other people, like when your sister buys a new house. They might say, "Good for you," or "That's cool," but they might also slip in a passive-aggressive statement to feel in charge. On the other hand, they quickly turn the topic back to themselves to get approval. For example, they might say, "Yeah, things are great for me too. We just had our best quarter ever, and I'm going to buy a new car." Narcissism is linked to envy in a big way. Their own deep-seated fears make them jealous, which makes them either try to compete with the people they envy or try to hurt them. They also often think that others are jealous of them and have trouble believing that someone can be happy for their wins. For instance, if a party is thrown in their honor, they might think that everyone there is jealous of what they have done. When someone congratulates them, they might say, "Oh, come on, you must be a little jealous, right? I'm doing great out there. Who wouldn't want a house like mine?" When things go wrong, narcissists may make comparisons that put down the choices other people have made in their lives. For example, they might say, "I can't figure out how you lived in that crowded city. It's very hot and crazy. Out here, where there's plenty of room and clean air, is where you really want to be." Disappointment is another type of threat that narcissists think about when they are talking. It could be caused by things that seem small, like not getting music tickets you wanted. This makes them feel like they don't deserve special care, which challenges their sense of self-importance and entitlement. In the same way, a broken refrigerator could make you wonder, why does everything bad always happen to me? Even though I'm a good person, bad things keep happening to me. Now, let's look at the third case. In this case, the narcissist's constant lack of interest in really listening causes plans to fall apart. Even though you try to give them important information like trip details, dinner reservation times, upcoming birthday parties, or looming deadlines, chaos happens and you're left confused and frustrated. This case is a continuation of the first one, where they didn't listen actively and didn't care. It is very important to know how they think. How can they keep forgetting important information that directly affects them, like flight times or specific event details that they themselves asked for? This is one of the hardest things to understand about selfish relationships. They really don't listen, and they don't care much. They often get lost in their own thoughts and don't notice what's going on around them. As time goes on and the supply they were looking for runs out, the painful parts of these relationships become clear. This can make the narcissist feel like he or she is better than everyone else, which can make them dislike anyone who doesn't support their sense of self-worth. When combined with their sense of self-importance, the fact that they don't listen to or understand what you say can lead to mistakes, missed plans, or even heated fights. When these fights get worse, the other person may try to gaslight you by saying that you never talked to them, even though you sent them multiple texts and messages. People who are narcissistic have attention processes that are very different from those of healthy people. They are very focused on keeping up their grandiose picture of themselves, protecting themselves from perceived threats, and looking for narcissistic supply. They don't care much about the boring parts of everyday life. This is one of the biggest problems when it comes to getting close to narcissists. Once they realize you are part of their world, they usually stop paying attention. Their interest is in the chase and thrill of the game, not in building a caring relationship with each other. This simple explanation explains why people often get stuck in loops of love bombing, hoovering, and chaos. When you first meet them, they have a lot of charm, energy, and magic. But it doesn't take long for anyone, including you, to stop being a fresh source of selfish supply and start being stale. At this point, they start to pay less attention. This trend holds true for all the different ways narcissism can show itself. They don't seem interested in really listening, but they are quick to blame you when things go wrong, plans clash, or they are inconvenient because they didn't pay attention to what you said. It is hard to deny that these relationships are complicated and hard to figure out. Whether you tell them over and over again and risk being called annoying, or just tell them once and hope they remember, you're stuck in a circle that you can't control. It's exhausting to try to guess what they'll say when the thing you told them about happens and you know they'll be upset. Or they might act like they don't know, making you wonder if you're crazy. Still, you don't have to worry about losing your mind. These behaviors come from their own psychological processes, which are different from how a mentally healthy person would act. They only care about what helps them get what they want, and they see danger around every turn. Unintentionally, you can sometimes be seen as a threat to their weak ego. Many people look for ways to handle these tense encounters. There are some things you can do, but they won't protect you from every possible explosion. You can carefully coordinate schedules, get mental support from people who understand, and find comfort in videos like this one, which can help you see the situation more clearly over time. But even if you know everything about how they act, you may still feel the pain of their beatings. Even though knowing how they act can't take away all of the pain, it can give you a basic understanding that keeps you from getting too confused. It's important to recognize that these kinds of partnerships are always painful. There is no way around facing this truth head-on. I can't take away all the pain that comes with these situations, but I can help with some of the confusion. Understanding how narcissists think may not take away the pain, but it can help make sense of why they act the way they do. I hope that this information helps, and I really appreciate you taking part in this conversation.